Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Get Comfy. I am your host, Mike, and I am joined together on the second chair with
Wade.
And today we are talking about what are we talking about today, Wade?
Talking about Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 10.
Ooh, Final Fantasy
AKA
9
we're just talking about
and 10.
we're talking about 13. No.
So get your clones together.
Oh.
All right, because it's about to get comfy. I just realized, and just by saying that, like both 9 and 10 have the same kind of concept with clones, and the fact that like Terra World creates all of Zidane's. I forget what the name of their like races.
Oh God, what are they called?
I
Terranomes?
I think they're
Terragomes.
Something.
It's like gnomes.
Yeah.
It's gomes.
But Garland creates all of them.
Yeah.
All right. And the Esper, not the Espers,
Well, also,
the Aeons all created Titus.
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
I mean, isn't clone? Sorry to interrupt you.
Vivi is a clone.
Yes.
They
Actually, I
also-
want to get into that one.
I mean, isn't this all kind of coming off of the like most of Final Fantasy does a little bit of clone shit, like
Right.
Clones.
Zack Cloud, yada yada.
Yeah.
It's all kind of comes from the fact that it's inspired by Star Wars.
Yeah. Except for 8. 8 doesn't have clones.
We don't care about 8.
Or does it?
No.
The Witch?
Which witch?
All of the different
The
sorcerers
sorceress,
are...
it's more of a Freaky Friday situation.
Yeah, it's a free, like, it's a possession situation. Ultimisia possesses them.
It's kind of just clones with more steps.
I'm talking about that they are a biological creature that was created by some other outside entity.
But we're here to talk about Final Fantasy 9 and 10.
We are here to talk
not
about 9
8.
and 10.
Yeah, 8
Which
times.
are my Josie did 6 and 7, and those were like prime for him.
Yeah.
For me, 9 and 10 is the sweet spot. I love 7, and I tolerate 8, and I love
A lot of
6.
people tolerate 8.
And I pretty much played like 4 and a lot of the Final Fantasies, but 9 and 10 is the sweet spot for me. Like 10 is the first one I ever played.
I love 10.
And 9 I've played just as much as 10. So this is, you said 9, you want to do 9 and 10? I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, you know me. I've played every single Final Fantasy up until Lightning's Return, because
Is that 3?
that's the third one.
That's third, yeah.
And I'm sorry. I played everything up until Lightning Returns. I played 14 and I played 15. And I do want to play 16.
16's great.
Yeah, I do
It's
want to play
one of the
16.
better ones.
I even want to play Strangers of Paradise. I've heard that game's bad but fun. It's fun bad.
Don't play Type 0, though.
I've heard actually good things about Type 0.
The story's terrible, but like it's good.
I've heard
gameplay.
like the game, like I enjoy Final Fantasy. I just do. Now we're into the part of Final Fantasy where we're actually at my favorite Final Fantasy. It used to be 8. 8 used to be my favorite Final Fantasy because it was the first one I was ever introduced to.
Yeah.
It's the one that blew my mind.
the nostalgia factor.
The nostalgia factor. But when I think about it, the game that I play the most, the one that I'm like, let me play it constantly, it's 10.
Yeah.
10 is my favorite Final Fantasy.
I'm torn between 9 and 10. So you just want to start with 9?
Let's start with
Just
9.
Dive in.
I actually just recently started. Josie, when I was living with Josie, he would hear me screaming in the other room because I was doing a level 1 run of Final Fantasy 9,
Oh,
and I kept getting pissed off because the
Dude,
shit. Yeah,
It was like you could set your clock to when Mike screamed while he was playing.
because you literally
no.
because like the monsters are still like they're like level 30,
Yeah.
level 40, so you literally have to just survive long enough to do certain status ailments so that you can win the fight without getting experience points.
Yeah, it's
It's torture.
I just actually replayed like 50 hours of 9 like
It's so
a couple
good.
weeks ago.
9 is so good.
9 is so good
Because I realized I had it on my PS5 like, oh, I have this I bought this.
No.
So I guess I'm just going to install and just play a little bit. I'll just play it and then just 50 hours in.
No, you can't just start 9 and then not expect it to like go through the whole
It's
fucking game.
9 is probably, I think, has a lot of things that 8 faltered on. When 7 has the materia system, which is a
Yes.
great system, then 8 has the draw system, and it's like it's very broken, but it's very But 9 picks it back up. I love the abilities.
Yes.
I love that you have to get a weapon or an accessory, and you gotta level that thing up. and then you keep it.
You get to keep that ability.
Sadly, with materia, you can't keep it. You know, it sucks. I think it perfected the idea of leveling up an ability or spell, and you get to keep it.
What I like about 9 is the fact that as some like you play them in chronological order, 7 and 8 were the first two Final Fantasies where they got rid of the class system, right? Like yes, Aerith we use as
they have different stats,
right? Like you could use Aerith as a healer, right? Because that's what she was.
She's also strong as shit,
right? But she's also like if you do what you want, she could be super strong. You could do that with any of the characters in 7 or 8. You could make Cloud the healer. You could make Aerith the tank. You could make Tifa you could do whatever you want with them because they were not subjected to a class system.
Yeah.
Same thing with 8. 8 just took it in a more extreme measure.
Yeah.
Because literally everyone could just. There was no healer in 8. Everyone just had cure and they all could do it.
Renella had some healer vibes still, though.
She had some healer vibes to her.
But
like,
that's not 9.
It's no.
9 has 2 healers.
But 9 brings back the class system.
Yes.
Zidane was your thief. Steiner was your tank. Vivi was your black mage. Garnet and Aiko were your white mages.
But they had different. They were different.
They were summoners.
Because Aiko is the only one that gets holy.
Yes.
And Garnet is the only one that has the most summons.
She also had her defensive abilities.
Yeah.
So she was like a pure healer.
And you had a Dragoon for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, Dragoon Freya.
You haven't had a Dragoon since technically 5. You could have the Dragoon ability in 5. But really the first Dragoon was 4.
Yeah.
And you have a blue mage, Quina.
Oh my god, the best blue mage.
And also...
I know, but she is the best blue mage of all Final Fantasy.
No, she's great. I love Quina.
Quina is like maybe the first, like maybe...
The only character I don't like is Mophead.
Oh, Armoret?
Yeah.
Armoret, who is... I don't even know what his role is. He throws things.
He's supposed to be another thief.
He's the character that throws stuff.
He just exists.
But also Quina, I think, is like the first maybe non-binary character, or...
Yes, she has... we say she, but
in the game it's he/she.
Yeah, he/she.
Yeah.
They're they.
Really?
Yep.
I think so.
I didn't remember that.
They interchange her sex constantly throughout the entire story. Sometimes they refer to her as a she, sometimes they refer to her as he, and then I think after a certain point in the story they just refer to her as they.
Yeah.
Because they don't actually know what Quina is.
For like 2000, for year 2000, that's pretty it's pretty
inclusive.
dope.
Because when you think about it, when Vivi runs into his grandpa, right?
Quail
is dressed the same as Quina.
Yeah.
Because that was usually what people use to like justify that Quina is a girl. Is that she's dressed up as a maid, cook, chef thing.
Yeah, the coups.
Right. But when you run into what Vivi refers to as grandpa the entire time, it's another Q and it's dressed just like Quina in the same type of outfit. And so people are like, well, wait a second. Is Quina a guy? There's a bunch of moments like that.
Who's your favorite character on 9?
Favorite character, as in character-wise, I would have to go Zidane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love Zidane.
He's not a broody protagonist.
No, he's not. He is a strong difference. He goes to Locke from 6. He is Locke from 6.
Yeah.
He's not Cloud or Squall, both military men who are like, we're military men, and we wake up and we roll our socks a certain way and blah, 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 blah. He's like, nah, I'm going to flirt with every girl I see, and I'm going to touch Garnet's butt as we're going up the ladder.
Ooh, soft.
Hey, yo.
That's Zidane. Ooh, soft.
Yeah, he's so good. Man, it's tough. Vivi is such a... If we're talking about character development, Vivi. If you're talking about player-wise, to me, the best two characters play-wise, if you know how to use them.
Best character to play? I got mine.
It's Freya.
Oh, fuck yes.
I do love Freya.
If you use Chocobo hot and cold,
yes,
and you get her legendary spear, you can get that early.
If you kill enough dragons, you can one-shot Ozma.
Dragon Crest is strong. Yeah. And also Steiner, if you get break or shock, it's shock. I beat Ozma in like 5 minutes.
All these characters have the ability to do awesome things if you do them the right way.
Yeah.
But I would have to say my favorite character to use throughout Final Fantasy IX is Quina.
Yeah.
Her blue magic is so overpowered
yes.
that if you do it the right way, you can literally level everyone in your party to level 99 before you even get off the first disc.
Yeah.
Like, she is that broken.
Yeah, it's so good.
I think Freya would be mine.
I
Freya
love
or
Freya.
Steiner.
Yeah.
I got to go back to like world. Like, I got to go back to my mindset like before I knew about the brokenness of Quina. And I think my favorite character back then was Vivi.
It just is the character of like
Vivi
that.
and Steiner, I think, were my two favorite. I
love
love their
Steiner.
pair.
Yeah.
But also like you have such a fun little story. It starts very simple, but it really
Very
blows
simple.
up into like
Nines?
craziness. And also it's like, I think it's one of the only Final Fantasies where you have unwinnable fights. Like, you
Yes.
face Beatrix like 3 times.
And
And
she kicks your ass.
She
You
knocks
never
you out
actually
every time.
beat Beatrix.
She is also a really
I
badass
love
character.
her. She
Yeah.
is beast. And her Steiner at the end.
They have some
Perfection.
great characters. Beatrice, Garland, Kuja.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, Kuja fucks.
I am telling you straight now, probably the most in-depth character, story, everything in Final Fantasy history, the best, all of that, is in 9.
Yes.
Right? 7, 8, okay, 6, whatever. There are like actual like papers that I've read about people explaining how Vivi's story helped them overcome the inevitability of death.
Yes.
Literally, that's his whole reason, his whole part in the story is that he realizes
He's going
like,
to turn off soon.
I'm going to turn off soon. I only got a couple years. And like his like come to terms of everything. The Vivi you see at the end of the game it's not Vivi.
It's his children.
It's his children. Like I played through that game 4 or 5 times, and it dawned on me that in the last sequence when you see the blah at the mage's thing that
Yeah.
they're paying respects to Vivi.
That's
Also,
the beginning of it's in Alexander where he starts.
Yeah.
he spins off one of the coolest side villains that have ever existed.
Oh, Black
The
Waltz 3,
waltzes
baby.
are so,
waltz is so
all
good.
3 of them.
All
Even
three
like
of
the
them.
drunk walking first one is awesome.
Like the airship, like cinematic of
That
like,
sequence when
so
Vivi
good.
goes insane and you see the fucking the other mages falling out of the sky and
Oh,
Vivi
yeah.
gets pissed off.
So many great things like Burmecia. That whole story in
Oh
Burmecia
my
is
God.
so good.
When you see
When you see Kuja for the first time, you're
Oh
like,
my god.
and
you
that theme is playing.
not to mention the music in 9.
The best music of
Best
all
music
of
of
them.
all Final Fantasies.
Best of
and-
all of them.
If you
You have
don't
Garnet's song. You have flamenco.
Dude, the
F-
crystal.
Flamenco?
Yeah,
Crystal World?
God, it's so good.
So good.
one of the best battle themes.
Dude, the scariest song in any of them, that end sequence in the Crystal World, like that monster that's like
yeah.
all the
Oh, yeah.
howls of like dying
howls
people in the
of-
background. It's like,
Yeah. Necron.
Necron.
Dude,
is
yes, thank you.
nuts. Also, one of the best endings.
Oh, yeah.
it is the best ending of
It
any
has- it
Final Fantasy, in
has-
my opinion.
It has a clear ending. Like 7's like, oh, the world's saved, and you don't know what happens to any other characters except for Red, really.
Yeah.
You don't know if
You
like
get
Cloud
the-
and Tifa finally.
You
do
get the
that.
1970s, 1980s ending to a Final Fantasy that you don't get in most other Final Fantasies. You get the "Where are they now?" ending,
Yeah,
which is
And it's awesome.
we're at the halfway point, so you want to just talk about Final Fantasy X?
oh man, it's shit. We can keep going about 9, but 9 is
First of all,
perfection.
we have to say, is it Titus or Titus? I say Titus.
I say Titus.
Okay, so internet.
Titus.
You're saying Titus, not Titus.
So Final Fantasy X, man,
First one with voice acting,
first one with voice acting. Again, we go back to the class system. Everybody has a class,
but you can break the class.
but you can break the class.
Yes, the sphere grid is one of
Everyone
the
can be-
best functions. One of the best
I love
systems
the
in
sphere grid.
Final Fantasy X. In any Final Fantasy is the sphere grid.
The Sphere Grid is probably one of the best level up systems in a RPG I've ever. It comes close to the Dragon Quest level up system.
Yeah, and also 10 gives you the best character. In all of Final Fantasy, I'm going to say is Auron.
CMR? Oh.
Auron is the best. Seymour is
Auron is the best. I love Auron.
Seymour Guado is a pain in the ass.
I love
the,
Seymour.
The Mount Gagazet Seymour battle
Seymour
pisses me off every time.
and I'm
Unalesca pisses me off more.
Unalesca's a bitch, and she deserves to burn in the pits of hell where she belongs. But I want to say this, and I'm probably going to get some flack from Third Mike, but Seymour is the closest we will ever get to a villain that comes close to Kefka in the Final Fantasy franchise.
That's fair.
So mid, though, and the fights are easy.
Though the last battle,
Mount Gagazet
one of
fight's
the best
pretty
themes.
tough.
Battle with Seymour is one of the best Final Fantasy themes.
Yeah, but I think 10 has the worst music overall.
A lot of it's just the Xanarkin theme.
And all that singing, like actual singing. Ugh.
The
Ick.
which thing?
No, I do love the battle
Suteki
theme.
Dani.
Yes. Ugh.
Oh man, I love 10. Like I don't comparatively when you're coming off the greatest OST in Final Fantasy history with 9, yeah, 10's OST is not as great as
there's so
9's.
much, but there's also but there's so much great like Sin.
I love Sin.
It's a
Sin as a concept of a monster. It's just so cool
But it's
to me.
also such a cakewalk.
When Sin destroys Kilika.
Yeah.
That because I was like 10 when that, when Sin destroys
dude.
Kilika, you're like
When that whole sequence
devastation.
where when Yuna shows up and she has to perform the sending.
one of the best moments.
Oh yeah, and you're like, oh, this is a cool sequence, and then you realize like this is somebody like literally doing a thing to like send off a bunch of people. Like
It's
10
beautiful and haunting.
10 brings to light more of the idea of death that 9 brought in. 9 did it to perfection, so I don't know why 10 had to.
10
do
has
it.
death, and then back to the whole like fate.
Yeah,
10, you
10,
gotta destroy fate with Sin.
Yeah, 10 goes back to fate and faith. 10's whole thing is the anti to faith, right? Because you have Waka, who has one of the best character developments.
Yeah,
where he literally
you hate him, but then like you're like, he
yeah.
learns.
But then he realizes, like, oh crap, my faith has been lying to me this whole time. I've been a pawn in Yevon's grand scheme ever since I was born. And he literally like turns to Riku and he's like, I am sorry, and I don't even know how I could begin to like repeat this.
It's all about legacy and not being like your parent, like Braska and Jack.
She is the daughter of Lord Braska. Oh my god, can we please get the precursor game? But can we get like an actual precursor game? I don't want
main character Aaron.
Main character Jet. Jet would be the main character.
But also
make me happy. Make it Aaron. Make Jet the side.
It would be Jet.
I also
dickhead though.
I also love the bringing back of how you get summons.
Oh yes,
you have to do the cloister trials, but sometimes you have to fight them like Yojimbo and the sisters and stuff. You have to fight.
The end sequence fight is also one of the saddest moments in all of Final Fantasy.
You literally,
I actually like teared up.
I teared up, man.
That I will say, 10's ending is the only ending that ever made me cry. You literally have Titus, who throughout the whole story has this whole moment where he's like, I love you, Yuna, all that stuff, right? Like they have that whole thing. And
he starts fading.
And that hug that he gives her, like she does not feel that hug on top of the airship. He's already like incorporeal at that point. So when he comes up behind her and she says, I love you, and he puts his arms around her to hug her, it's just a gesture. Like that hug does not actually happen.
And I think also like,
and then he jumps off the thing. Yeah, he goes through all the other people and he gives his dad a high five. And I'm like,
Can we also talk about like how
moments in video games now that have like father son bondings, they hit me differently.
Oh yeah. Like they have
it doesn't make
also
them better
great
though.
Also, is this the first one that has metal music in it?
Oh my god, yeah, dude. The fact that Nobuo,
and that's the great opening because you have
literally how 10 starts.
Yeah, but also Kimari is not good.
Kimari is the lamest
great.
Of all
The Ronsos are great.
I love Kimari as a character, but as like a usable character,
yeah, his blue magic does not work as well as Quina's.
And when you go from Quina to that, it's ass, bro.
And the idea of Kimari, I like the idea of Kimari because he's in the middle of Sphere Grid and you can go any direction. But neither direction, his stats aren't as good no matter what stat you do.
It takes him too long to be good.
But also, isn't he John DiMaggio? So he automatically gets win points.
He is John DiMaggio.
But I think he's also Waka, so
he's
you don't need him.
Waka is the more one. Like you hear John DiMaggio when Waka talks. Certain phrases come through, you're just like, I just hear Bender.
There's also
just hear Bender.
Lulu, who's like
everyone's like goth mommy. Yes. Oh.
Dude,
I love her weapon. That's like, it's the doll.
That look when she like rolls her eyes and sighs, I was just like, as like a 12-year-old boy, I was like, oh my god, what's going on?
What am I feeling? No, and dude, that just her being so perfect is part of why I could never ever really get into 10-2 because I was like, you had the perfect 3 girls to set this up, and you were like, let's get rid of one of them and add a new girl who no one gives a shit about.
Nobody cares about Pain.
You just want another Auron, pretty much.
The only thing I like about 10-2, only thing I'll give 10-2 credit for is the dress sphere system.
Awesome.
Is awesome.
Yeah,
I
awesome.
love the way they do job switch because like,
And dude, I love the costume changes, and maybe that's just the.
But you can put
feminine
like a
in me, but,
warrior.
like-
You can put like a warrior up here, and then a mage down here, and then as you go from warrior to mage, it passes through like a plus 10% MP. So if you chain it right, you can fucking come out like a beast.
And alternate
character.
skins you don't have to pay for automatically makes it better than anything modern. So
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever talked about this in our 10 whatever years of friendship.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Blitzball?
I fucking love
I
Blitzball.
love Blitzball.
I fucking love
dude, I want it to be a
Blitzball.
real game.
I want it to be a
Yes.
real game.
It's impractical, but I want it to exist.
Like, if you, here's the thing. I think people will not enjoy Blitzball if they don't get the jack shot.
No, you gotta get the check shot
Yeah.
to enjoy that game.
Yeah.
If you fuck up
Because
that
it's
mini
hard.
game,
Because you
that
get
game becomes impossible.
Because you get all those characters, Jesu and all that. They're not that
and
good.
Biggs
until
and
you
Wedge
level
are
up a
players
lot.
too, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
Biggs and Wedge of 10.
I will tell you though, there's a cool thing that I found out that if you do the first game against the Kalika, not the
Luka goers.
the Luka goers, if you do that right, you can actually wind up like scoring like 5 points before the switch where Waka comes in.
Yeah.
And if you score 5 points before like they do that, like the crowd's going crazy. Like it cuts to the crowd going like, "Oh, all rocks, all rocks, all rocks," and then it cuts to like Titus in the arena, and he's like, "Okay, I gotta switch out with like I gotta give Waka."
This
his
is
due."
Waka's moment.
Right? Because it's like, wow, everyone's cheering for the Aurochs. They're excited for the Aurochs. I gotta let Waka experience this. You get that moment, but it only happens if you score 5 points. It's doable. It's hard, but it is worth it if you can do it.
I guess as we start rolling down, I think one moment I have to mention is Anima.
God.
Oh my god, when
Fuck,
Anima shows up for the first time.
At Luca.
Yeah.
Like Anima, and you see the blood coming down his eye when he's in pain, and then you find the backstory of Anima, and you're like, oh,
Dude,
yeah.
semi off topic to talk about me for a second here with that. I was considering getting the two halves of that as a tattoo
Hell
up
yeah.
and
Oh,
down
yeah.
my leg.
hell yeah.
Fucking the Oblivion part.
Like bad
Yeah.
half, good half, up
Hell
and
yeah.
down.
Hell yeah.
Like that, like it's so good. There's so many moments, like the wedding crashing scene when they're on the grind.
Like if you watch that scene, go back and
You're
watch
like,
that
yeah.
scene. Yeah, it's all cool because you see like Titus flipping over and you see Kamari going down with his spear. Awesome, right? But you know who else is going down that cable? Lulu.
Yeah.
Lulu was also grinding down that cable, which just blows my mind because I'm just like, girl, what the fuck are you doing?
How you doing that in the belt dress, girl? That's nuts.
But every character has a moment, except for like Lulu doesn't really have that much of a moment.
Lulu
but
doesn't
her
really
moment
go-
is being her.
But Kamari
yeah,
dealing with
being hot.
oh god, what are the names? The Ronso guys.
Beard
The
and Yankee.
Hornless.
Hornless.
And he gets his redemption. Well, no, he doesn't get his redemption. They all get killed.
Yeah, they all get murked.
Arin gets his redemption.
Yes, he sticks it to Unalesca.
Titus stops being
A whiny little
wiener.
brat.
Ha 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 ha.
You know what's funny is that people make fun of that moment so much, right? Like it is because it is a weird moment, but like the whole point of that moment is that he's trying to teach Yuna like you just need to laugh no matter what, even
Yeah.
if it's fake. And so he gives like the fakest laugh ever to be like, just do
No,
that.
it's a cute moment
It's
in
a
the
cute
game.
moment, but
Mocked
people-
as it is, it's a cute moment in the game.
People meme the fuck out of it, so it's like,
But people meme the fuck out of Eris getting stabbed. So like
oh, that's a funny moment.
we meme everything. It doesn't matter
she
if it's
just
the
flops.
saddest thing in a game.
Do, do, do.
Honestly, her getting stabbed isn't the sad part. It's
Even-
Cloud dropping
It's
her
Cloud
in the water.
dropping her into the water. That's the sad part.
Even little things like
Death is shit.
when Yuna has to face that summoner throughout her pilgrimage.
Yes.
And it turns out they're dead.
Yep.
Or Bellarina, whatever her name was.
Bellarina,
Yeah, she was.
Bellafina, whatever.
Like there's little moments like that. And there's a little shop guy. What's the shop guy?
Shot guy. Owaka. Owaka the third.
Yeah,
At
Waka
your,
the third.
at your service? No, that clothes won't do.
But
Ah,
Final Fantasy X is awesome.
Final Fantasy X is awesome. It is like by far my go-to.
But
Final
9
Fantasy.
to me is just between the two, between all of them, 9 is my
I
favorite.
think if you
All
wanted
of
to
them.
go through and say like what is like the quintessential best, like that took everything and built it to its peak, it's 9.
Yeah.
9 is
I
literally.
heard there's a rumor that they're going to remake it.
There's
like
a
there was 7.
There's a Netflix cartoon series coming out. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
I am excited.
I heard, I don't know if it's true, but a rumored voice actor too, and I can't remember who it is now, so I'm useless. But like, it was someone really dope, like a Steve Bloom kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Dope.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like if you wanted like a Final Fantasy that takes the best of everything that came before it and combines it into one, it's 9.
I mean, 9 has my favorite ending by a large margin over the other ones,
And thus
and the best
ends-
music.
And thus ends the great reign of Final Fantasy great games.
Yeah,
We're not going to count 11, but there's 12 and 13.
I like 12. I like 14, and 15 wasn't bad. It stepped away.
second
finally.
hand,
It was
second half
okay.
falls apart. but
13 too has a really good bad guy.
Yes.
Caius rules.
But 10 was definitely the finale. So with that, we'll wrap things up for today. If you enjoy this, we did a episode where we talked about 7 and 6. We also made a fool of ourselves while we did a test about 7 and 6. You can go back and watch that. And that'll be everything for today.
I guess I have to make a fool of myself now.
Yeah, now you got to make a fool of yourself.
Welcome to the ass club, bro.
See you later, guys.
I got my one with you.